The jazz community lost the great Chick Corea this past week. He had some of the most recognizable standards in history, along with an incredible performance style. So, in honor of the recently departed legend, you're going to get a map of useful targets and a great tool to use over his jazz standard, 500 Miles High. Hi, my name is Jason Klobnak and I'm a jazz trumpeter from Denver, Colorado that helps musicians find a better way to improvise. If you're looking for a quick jazz improv tip that will help your soloing, then you've come to the right place. When the calendar flipped over to 2021, many of us looked at what we accomplished and what we didn't get done. One thing that's been on my resolution list every year is to learn more standards that I don't know, revisit ones that are forgotten, and to be able to play ones that I'm familiar with in keys that don't usually get called. So I wanted to invite you into this journey with me. On February 11th, the world learned of the loss of Chick Corea. A lot of love and support was immediately floating around the news as well as social media. My mind instantly went to some of my favorite songs and performances of his. Songs like Spain, Armando's Rumba, and others pop in my mind like a nostalgic childhood memory. Chick was known for a lot of things, but one that stands out to me was bridging various Latin rhythms and styles into the jazz lexicon. While doing some pondering over the weekend, I thought now would be the perfect time to learn his song, 500 Miles High. It was featured on his Light as a Feather record. If you're ready, let's map it out. Now, if you're not quite sure what this means, be sure to stick around for the rest of the video and check out some of the previous masterclasses where we've mapped out other standards. In some of the previous standards we've looked at, there was a lot of readily noticeable key areas. 500 Miles High has a few spots where we have quickly identifiable harmonic cadences. These are 5-1 or even 2-5-1 progressions in a key area. The song is in E minor, but it takes a little hunting to find those cadences in this one. I notice a minor 2-5-1 to the key of A minor here. A minor would be the 4 chord of the main key of E minor, so I can see that relationship off the bat. But otherwise, the only other time I see a distinct cadence is at the end of the form here. This B7 sharp 9 is the 5 chord of E minor, which takes us back to the top of this unusual 18-bar form. So now the question is, what's going on with these other chords? They don't have much harmonic relationship with E minor. So I see something that is common with many other jazz fusion style writers connected with Chick Corea. There's a process in writing harmonic progressions that finds stepwise motion, whether that's whole or half steps, in the guide tones between the chords. These are typically the thirds and sevens, but can be the root and the fifth as well. I cover that in my creative jazz composition course that you can find in my members area. There's a link below if you'd like to check more out on that. While the motion between the guide tones is stepwise, it creates interesting movements with the root. If you notice here, the root motion in the beginning moves up in minor thirds. The guide tones themselves, though, have that stepwise movement that I mentioned earlier. Keeping with the stepwise motion between the guide tones helps set up this B flat major 7 to the B minor 7 flat 5. The root moves up a half step and it perfectly sets up the minor 2-5 to the key of A minor here. Then we continue with the pattern of thirds, but going down this time from the A minor to this F sharp minor 7 flat 5. Normally, when you see this chord type, it's functioning like a 2 chord that goes to a 5 chord in a minor key area. But that doesn't happen here. The root goes down a half step along with 2 of the chord tones, all while the C remains as the pivot. The C is the flat 5 on the F sharp minor 7 flat 5 chord and the 5th of the F minor 7 chord. You'll see when we look at the target map in a moment how smoothly the maps flow between targets. Finally, we go to up a 5th to this C minor 7 for 2 measures before getting to that B7 sharp 9 that, guess what, becomes the 5 chord of E minor. I took a little time talking about how I see the harmonic movement with you because it's not the typical cyclical harmonic progression you see in a lot of standards. This one's a little different for sure. So here's my map of targets I'm intending to hit along the way. I'm going to look for paths between the targets that are in close proximity to each other. As I get more comfortable with the form and changes though, I will eventually venture out and include more options. Ultimately, the goal is to be comfortable enough with them that when I play with other musicians, I'm focused on musical communication with them and not the targets themselves. You will notice on the target map, the slashes will represent where I introduce tension to get to the next target. And when I talk about using tools to get to targets, those tools introduce tension before I get to the resolution, which, guess what? It's the target. Like last week's video, I did write out one tool for you. This is called a number of things in the educational world like enclosures, upper and lower chromatic neighbors, and a bunch of other things. But I like to call it chromatic targeting because of how I'm using it to resolve into the target. I'll use some others inside of this example, but wanted to give a specific look into one of the tools for this video. If you'd like to check out more on that tool as well as other tools and how to use them to get to your targets, there are links below in the description that will help you out. I'm going to play a chorus or two and then give you an opportunity to try it out on this video as well. I hope you've enjoyed this video and that it has added value or benefit to your playing in some way. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell that's right next to it that lets you know when another video comes out. And if you know any other musician that might find this useful, you can share it with them too. Until then, my name is Jason Klobnak, and I'll see you on the next one.